Hello, fellow figure skating fans and friends. I am so happy to be here today with my friend Brahim to provide a preview for the 2019 Grand Prix final, which will be next week from the day we're recording, and it will be held in Torino, Italy. So, really exciting. And Brahim, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here on this super professional Skype call.
Whatever. I'm just excited to have someone else to
Yeah,
discuss skating with. It's been
yeah,
a while since I've been on a podcast or a video with someone else, so I think it's going to be really fun. I
yeah. I'm
think the
excited.
format of this video will be we'll go through each discipline. I will list off all of the athletes who qualified for the Grand Prix final, and then we'll talk about who is a contender for the gold and what everyone else's chances are for the podium.
Sounds good.
Excellent. So we'll start with the men's here. So qualifying first, Yuzuru Hanyu of Japan, and then we have Nathan Chen of the United States, Alexander Samarin of Russia, Dmitry Aliev of Russia, Kevin Amos, is that how you say it?
Amos,
Amos of
pretty close.
France, and then Boying Jin of China. So, Brahim, I think it's a given. Contenders for the gold, Yuzuru
Oh,
Hanyu versus Nathan Chen.
I think it's going to be super interesting because Yuzu has been. This is the most healthy we've seen him in quite a few years. He hasn't gotten injured yet. I'm like knocking on wood and back because I honestly I get scared because he's like yeah, it's a lot, but I th- I think it's going to be dependent on who goes clean. If Yuzu goes clean, I think he deserves the win, but let's be honest, the judges tend to have their biases, so I'm not sure how that will play out. Nathan has slightly higher tech content, but he doesn't have the transitions. He lacks some of the artistry. He's getting there, but I think it's gonna be more in Yuzu's favor because he's been on a very good upward swing. He's good at peaking when he needs to peak.
Yeah.
He can have like a competition where he pops a jump or like falls, but like it'll be a competition that doesn't matter as much. So he'll let's say he's in the past gotten like a silver at a Grand Prix medal at a Grand Prix, right? Comes back and gets the gold at the final. So like he knows how to peak at the right time. Nathan has also been doing very well. I think it's interesting that they both have a quad toe Euler triple flip combo,
That's true.
especially because Yuzu has a lip. Historically, he is known to go onto the outside edge. But Yuzu's is in the second half, so he has to score a bonus on that. And also, when he landed it clean at Skate Canada, it was a thing of beauty. I think it had better flow than Nathan's, and also it had more transitions in and out. So I think that would give him a pretty big advantage if he landed that clean. But as we saw at NHK, he popped that double toe. So I think he can do it. His quad toe is super consistent. I think he just needs to like stay calm because at NHK, like I don't know if you could tell, he was pretty nervous.
I didn't notice that.
A lot of people were talking about it on Twitter. Like they saw his legs shaking at the opening pose, and like I noticed he was a bit disconnected from his music, which I think he was a bit nervous. I mean, think about it. Second Grand Prix, he has gotten injured in the past 2 years. I think he was just wanted to make it through without injury. And I mean, that performance was a bit of a fight because I mean, he popped that quad toe Euler triple flip into a double toe, but then he comes back and does a quad toe triple toe and a triple axel Euler triple sal. He fought for it. He was smart about it, but he had to fight for it. So my thing is, I think now that he's made it through two Grand Prix without getting injured, hopefully, like he'll feel a bit calmer and a bit more confident about his body and and the fact that he will stay healthy, hopefully, and do well. He is also very fiery this season. Like he's been very I think he wants to prove something to himself and to others. I think there are certain the ISU is kind of gently hinting that they may want to push him out of the sport because they like to keep it revolving, which I don't agree with at all. I think that's really dumb. I think he's trying. He's like he's showing that he still has a place in this sport because he's still evolving. He's still adding new tech content. He's getting better and better. He's training that quad axle. God knows how that's going to go. But like, we know that he's pushing himself. So I think he has plenty more to give. I think that he could win it. But again, it really depends on who falls on what, who pops what. But let's be clear. He should be getting higher PCS by a good margin. I love Nathan. He's a great skater. I really enjoy his short this year. I enjoy his jumps. They're obviously really consistent, fully rotated. He's landing so many quads, and he's doing them with good technique. That's amazing. Like, people don't give this kid enough credit. And he's like, he just seems like a genuinely nice person. So I'm always very impressed by him. But he doesn't have the transitions that Yuzu has, or quite the level of skating skills. And he doesn't have quite the nuance of the music. Like in Origin, for instance, Yuzu really knows how to accent every bit of the music during that step sequence. Like the violin part, that's like perfection. That's like something he was like thought of, and it goes super well. That entire step sequence is just beautifully timed to the music. Like that part where he spins and then slides, and it matches the audio of the ice scraping.
Yes.
That's like, part. Yeah, but like, he has those little nuances that even though he has this habit of putting his head down sometimes and looking down, which is one of my pet peeves. He is my favorite men's skater of all time, but that's like one of my pet peeves because he's so good. You notice the small things. And sometimes his posture can be weird. But at the same time, when he hits those parts of the music, he hits them so well that gives him an edge in interpretation. And performance and interpretation, they tend to get lumped together. Like, I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Personally, I view performance more as like the emotion behind the performance. I know there's like an official guidebook like for what they look for with performance on the PCS, but interpretation falls to me more under like how they follow the music, how they move with the music. And I think Yuzu is so good at accenting any music he skates to that he's always going to have the advantage on that. You can give Nathan high performance, in my opinion, because he really gets into the... People give him a lot of grief for that choreo sequence.
Yeah.
At first, I wasn't sold, but at the same time, it hits all the boxes for a choreo sequence. Like, choreo sequences are pretty open-ended, and he really gets into it. So, like, I think that's a great example of his performance ability. So, I think Nathan should get high performance, but should generally be beaten out by Yuzu on, like, everything else.
Yeah, that's a really good distinction between interpretation and, was it performance?
Performance, yeah.
I tend to lump them together, as I think many casual fans do. So
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. With you, I don't know what's going to happen. I do believe in placing bets. I have not placed any because we don't know what even like Nathan Chen, what his layout is going to be, because that tends to change from one competition to the next. And even Yuzuru Hanyu can change his layout.
He can change it during the program, as we saw at HK. He can do whatever he wants. No, I think this is by far one of the most chaotic, like, Grand Prix. Like, between the two of them, I have no idea what's going to happen. Because last time we saw them compete against each other, Yuzu was still recovering from that injury. And he made two big mistakes at Worlds. He popped that quad style into a double, and he under-rotated that quad style in the free.
That's right.
And those cost him. The scoring was wonky. I do think Nathan was overscored at that event. Particularly, like, inflated GOE and some PCS. But let's just say the skating gods do their jobs and the judges score everyone evenly. I think if they both go clean, it'd be Yuzu's. But Yuzu, let's say he, like, pops that quad style. He falls on the loop. If Nathan gets clean on everything else, he could win it. Because Nathan is pretty darn consistent with those quads.
And the judges love him.
Yeah, let's be honest. Like, the judges really like him. And I like him a lot. I just think he's not quite... He's still maturing as a skater, in my opinion. And I think he... my biggest issue... Okay, so I actually really like his short program. I actually really like La Boheme. It, like... I think it has some good transitions and it feels full. My problem is with the free, because I feel like it lacks transitions and kind of turns into just a jump fest until the end. But so it's like I see that he can do transitions. Like Nathan can add them in and add more into his program and make them more compelling. But it's just a bit frustrating because his frees tend to get a bit like jump heavy rather and don't exactly feel like a complete program to me.
Yeah, you're right. And that's really unfortunate to see because I think he can do the transitions. He is a good skater. He has the
That's what
strength.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
He has good skating skills. Some people get really mad when he gets like eights on skating skills. I'm like, guys, he has good skating skills. It's just that a lot of the times in his free, he doesn't have the opportunity to showcase them.
Usually in a situation like this where we talk about Nathan versus Yuzu, there's always Shoma Uno in the past who can fight for it. But now there's no Shoma, so I like to think it's a fight for the bronze medal. I think most of the guys have a chance at
This
landing on
is
that podium.
this is where things truly get chaotic because we can always like fight. Like we never know who may win with like Nathan and Yuzu, depending on the day, depending on the scoring. Because let's be honest, this sport does not have fair scoring in a lot of ways. There's a lot of
Yeah.
corruption. We don't know how that will play out. But with the bronze, it's kind of a free for all because we expected Shoma to make it. He's been having a rough season, unfortunately. He needs to get a coach.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking Stefan would be good for him at this point because they seem to have a good rapport. But he needs a coach. I wanted Jason Brown to make the Grand Prix final so bad. He was so close. He's one of my favorites.
You wanted Jason. He is the second alternate. One of my favorites, Nam Nguyen, is the first alternate.
He also did very well. Okay, so let's talk about Boyang.
Yes.
Jin, who came back so hard
gosh.
at Cup of China that he got a spot at the Grand Prix final. Honestly, like I respect him so
If
much.
you all are not caught up, so Boyang Jin was 6th at Skate America and then won Cup of China. Almost seemed like a completely different skater just because he was really having a hard time at that first Grand Prix that I didn't know if it was injuries or if it was problems with training, but he came back and looked pretty good at Cup of China. You know, didn't bring out all the quads. The free skate really just had the quad lutz, quad toe, but he has the ability to do way more.
Boyang had a rough season last year. I think he's trying to find his ground again, but he is like literally like you can look at his standings for the Grand Prix series, and he's kind of the most unpredictable to me because
he's been a world medalist.
He's a wildly inconsistent skater, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I love him, I really like him, but like let's be honest, he doesn't land at quad lutz often. It's
he's
incredible.
Either like hot or cold, like really on or really off.
And I haven't really seen anything too in between like that, and that's what's interesting to me. But you saw that quad lutz at Cup of China. Yeah. It was one of he probably has my favorite quad lutz. Him and Mikhail Kolyeda, but Mikhail is unfortunately recovering from his surgery. Right. I hope he's doing well. He also got married, so good for him. I was
congratulations!
Yay, Misha! It was really cute.
About Boyang. You know, a lot of people like to talk about his lack of artistry, which has been improving over the seasons. It's still not where it should be. This is a pet peeve of yours. He looks down a lot, especially in his free skate at Cup of China.
I think it's gotten a lot better, though. And
that is true.
I think I actually do like the free program a lot.
You like it?
I think Benoit we showed. That was the short.
Still, bring it back. Bring that energy back.
Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this short. It's nice, but that Spider-Man one, I need it back. Mm-hmm. It was just so good. No, but I actually do like the free program. I think it's pretty good. Benoit Richaud, who choreographs Kaori Sakamoto's free skates, tended to be a bit heavy-handed. This is a song literally it's a program called The Last Heartbeat. It is, you hear the sound of a heart flatlining when he does the quad lutz, so it's very heavy-handed. Like, I'm not going to pretend that it's subtle or anything, but there is a certain it sets a tone that I think Boyang, even though his artistry, he needs to work on his posture, how he carries himself, his arms, and his like how he emotes. But there's a certain level of like, because it's packaged in such a way, the program, that like it sets a specific tone that sort of like creates a sense of artistry, even though he's not the best artist. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm saying is it's a well packaged program. It's themed well, and it makes thematic sense. Like, I also really like his outfit for it.
Yes.
I think it's a good example of how you can do men's outfits but not be boring with them.
And not be too out there.
Yeah, Yeah, like you don't have to be a Yuzu who like literally is in perfect in like complete glitter. Like you
Love
don't.
that for him, though.
Oh my god, I could talk about his outfits all day. When I was at Autumn Classic International, that was my first skating competition I'd ever seen, so that was wild. But when he unveiled his new Antonio outfit, I like screeched because it was so beautiful. But
Yeah.
anyway, I
Also
love
love the
that.
color. Yeah. So that being said about Boyang Jin, he does get style points for having gold blades.
Oh my god. Okay, but here's the thing. Let's be honest. I can see him getting bronze
Oh,
if he
me
goes
too.
clean. But if, and you know he may not go clean.
No, he may not.
He probably won't. Like, let's be
You
honest.
never know. I'm an optimist.
Honestly, the sport has broken me too much, Justin.
Okay, he got a taste of gold after,
Maybe
a
that'll like.
horrible experience. He wants to continue the winning streak.
I think someone said that this is the lowest total score that anyone's had, or like total score that anyone's had for someone like qualifying for the Grand Prix final, and I think that's very funny.
That is funny. In the past, I can think of situations where someone qualified being first in one Grand Prix and then fifth in another. I'll have to like go back to see how many people qualified with being sixth in one of their Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I don't think it's been done. I mean, you've been following skating longer than me, so you probably know more. Like you can probably.
I'm not a good historian, though. I have short-term memory loss, so I only
Okay.
remember the current season, sometimes the
To be
last.
fair, it's very difficult to remember even the current season. Let's be honest.
That's right. Let me
Oh,
ask you about, from
yeah,
Russia, Alexander Samarin, because he got some wildly good scores
a
lately.
little too good. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
no, yeah.
Okay, let's be honest. Stelicom, the Russians were gonna it was in Russia. The Russian skaters were gonna be overscored. I'm not saying this to like diminish the accomplishments of those skaters because all of these skaters are incredibly talented people. Like the things they do are incredible, but they were overscored. Like particularly Samarin, in my opinion. That being said, I want to focus on the positives first. Powerful jumper,
Yes,
obviously. Powerful jumper. I do like his short. I think he does a pretty good job committing to the music, especially with the opening choreography. Also, how tall is he? He seems
really
like
tall.
and he's doing like honest. I respect that because it's very hard to do that level of skating when you're that tall, like when jumping quads. But one thing that is because of his height, I noticed he has a ton of axis problems when he
Yes,
jumps.
he does.
And I like sometimes he'll pull off these landings, and I'm like, how did he like do that? Because there was a big fuss on Twitter because his quad Lutz triple toe got the highest score ever for an element, and it overtook Yuzu's quad toe Euler triple flip, and people got really mad about that. I do think it shouldn't be the case. I think it was horribly overscored because there weren't transitions in or out, but what was most amazing, and it's very impressive, that lean he had.
Yeah.
You saw that lean, and he pulled off landings. So I do respect him a lot for being able to pull off those landings. However, if they were to score that, like let's see, so good takeoff and landing. I'm going through the
Oh
bullet points
gosh,
of the
you're
GOE.
good.
Yeah. Good takeoff and landing.
Height.
Height, definitely
Mm-hmm.
height. I'd say what was there's 3 that you need to get to go above +3.
So for men's, it's not arm variation
That's not in it at all
at
anymore.
all. Yeah.
That falls under good body position, but it's not officially used to like bump up GOE like it
Okay.
was prior. Good takeoff and landing, good height, effortless throughout. That's the third one.
I think he
I don't know.
muscles his jumps.
I wouldn't call it effortless. So you have to get those 3 in order to get above a +3, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm like 80% sure. And then let's go through some of the other bullets. Was it particularly musical? Not really. Did it have transitions? No.
No.
No. And
And it's funny,
body
preparing for
position.
body
Body
position?
position.
No, he was off
So
axis.
I would give that a +2 at
Yeah.
the most. +2 GOE. So when you look at it, I think he should not have gotten that highest score ever.
No.
But let's be honest, he does do well. And my point is, even though he has some funky jumps, he can get a landing out of them.
Yes.
And that counts for something,
And
especially
that's
in the
impressive. That
field
impresses
where
me,
the men.
actually.
No, it impresses me so much, but where the men's field is so chaotic. If he could go semi-clean, I can definitely see him medaling, like
Hmm.
the getting that bronze. Because I mean, if he like, let's say he like pops like one or two jumps or falls on his quad lutz, like even then, if he like puts in the other program content, like he could potentially squeak out a medal. I do think there's a lack of artistry, particularly in the free. That
Absolutely.
also, I don't want to judge, but what the heck is he wearing in that free?
Oh, is it the
The
red
face.
outfit?
No, he has like this face on the back of it.
I can't remember.
Okay, I thought it was the joke. I thought it was Ledger's Joker, but I'm not 100% sure. No, I was like, well, okay. The music is actually super interesting for the free, but it feels empty because there are no transitional choreographical elements that are filling up that space.
Yeah, you know what I wrote down in my notes for Alexander? I
Yeah.
said he reminds me of a more powerful Sergei Voronov.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Technically focused. You know, he can kind of get into it because he's feeling the music and it's kind of exciting. Does it add to the artistry? No. I
And like,
appreciate him and Sergey when they're clean, but
yeah,
sometimes they both have to muscle their jumps, which, you know, counts
yeah.
for
I
something.
mean,
You accumulate points that way.
it's valid. Like,
Hmm.
you do what you have to do to win. Like, it's a sport, and if you can get somewhat of a landing in as opposed to no landing at all, you're going to get more points. So I really respect that. Like, I respect people who can pull off weird landings. That's like one of my favorite.
Me
Like,
too.
it's like honestly like so interesting to see the things people can do. Like, Javier Fernandez and Yuzu both have had some strange landings that I've been like, huh? But like also some of the ladies, it's
I think it
interesting.
takes a lot to save the landings of a jump, especially when it goes off axis, and that's not a skill that every skater has.
I think I forget which commentators were talking about this. It might have been at Rostellicom 2017 before the Olympics when Yuzu did a quad lutz and was so low, but he managed to pull it off. I don't know if it was there, but like the commentator said, a good skater will land a jump, a great skater will land a bad jump.
Oh, that's a
And I
really
think
good way of putting it.
because I mean it's true. Like once you have that experience, like you can like land really bad things, even if it goes horribly wrong in the air. Like for instance, Alexander Samarin landed that bizarre off-axis quad lutz, so I do give him a lot of credit for that. That's my point. Um, Moving on to the other Russian men's
Yes.
competitor, Dmitry Aliev. I actually really like him.
I was gonna say I really love him too. He's a skater.
Yeah, like okay, he's not Jason Brown transitions and like artistry, but he is deeply connected to his music. Deeply connected. Like I really love it. Like I know sometimes there's this sort of like inexplicable factor that you can't exactly like pin down, but he just really feels the music through him. And I really like that.
Yeah,
He also has some pretty solid jumps. His quad toe, like they're getting there. They're
he's
not.
landing them.
He's landing them. They're not egregious, but they're not great. But he's landing them, so I respect that. Um, he has more transitions than Samarin, definitely, definitely. I also really like both his programs. The free
Me
program, the
too.
music is great. That cover of Sound of Silence is lovely.
He had a moment in the free skate at Ross Telecom Cup. I had to rewatch that program before we started filming. I think
Yeah,
he had the moment of the free skate because he was clean over Samarin.
yeah, and also it's just I think the music he does a okay. So like even if the program isn't the most complex, like in terms of footwork, he does a very good job channeling the energy of it, and he just does still have more transitions than some of the other men. So I think that put him in a like gave him the edge. Also, just I love that song. I love that cover of that song.
Me
He's
too.
I think he's kind of like a dark horse.
Maybe. I
Or-
think what's holding him back is that he just does the quad toe.
Doesn't he have a quad lutz? Oh, I remember. Oh, this brings me. I wanted to bring up more thing for Samarin.
Sure.
I don't know. Does Samarin have a flutz? I haven't seen a video of his takeoff on that quad lutz.
A lot of skating fans would say yes.
Okay, I haven't checked it out, so he switches. Dmitry Aliev, didn't he have a quad lutz, but then he flexes really hard on it, so he
You
had to
know
stop.
what? As I said earlier, short-term memory loss. This season, no quadlets attempt.
I could have sworn he did it at the Olympics. Has he been? I wonder what his logic is. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
right?
Was he getting edge calls?
Who knows?
I know. I know. If I'm wrong, if any, like let us know
Yeah,
in the
let us
comments,
know.
and like
But
if you know why, like
inform
because it's
us.
because it's interesting. What other quads? Quad toe. No quad sal from him.
I didn't see one in the Grand Prix, so quad toe in the short, and then two in the free. One done in combination.
The problem then is that we arrive at Kevin. Kevin is also only doing a quad toe.
That's right. And those are kind of dicey.
But also kind of similar like levels of tech layout. If you're going to compare Dmitry Aliev and Kevin Amos, though, if they both go clean, you give it to Kevin because Kevin has superior artistry, interpretation, and transition. Let's talk
Especially in the
about
short
Kevin.
program.
Let's talk about that short program. Oh, when I saw it live, oh
You
my
saw
god!
it live? I hate you.
Yeah, ACI. Oh my god! Like I was talking about Dimitri, how he really connects with his music, and how like he has sort of like the unexplained factor. I don't know if it was because I was there in person, but like Kevin's is even crazier. It's electric, particularly that short program. He just drags you into it because this is what I was talking about. Like with Yuzu, him and Yuzu both know how to utilize the music completely to the fullest because for Kevin's short, you have him literally body slapping to the rhythm of the claps and snaps perfectly.
Throughout the entire program.
He never loses that character or that musicality. That part, he transitions into a spin by doing this like butt slam almost. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I'm trying to remember. So describe
He
it
does
some
that
more.
move. Yeah, he sits on the ice for a second, gets up, and then goes into.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and I'm like, this boy, like Kevin's one of the most inventive skaters we've seen in the past few years, I think, because he's creating he has this very defined aesthetic, very unlike any other skater I've seen. He always has that beautiful aerial in his step sequences, that's just gorgeous, but also he has really interesting spiral elements during his choreo sequences. Some people are mad that he's like outscored Yuzu on step sequences before. I think the issue is that he has slightly shallower edges than some of the top skaters, but he still has really good skating skills, and also he has more transitions than like 90% of the field.
Yeah.
Like, and they're good transitions. Like,
They're
I don't
difficult
know if
and done well.
especially in that short. That short is just phenomenal.
I
Like,
love the short way more than the long, but the long
I was
brings out something
watching the
different.
long. My issue with the long is even though there are transitions, it feels kind of like jump heavy in the beginning for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's the music itself. There's not much change in it. So there's not much, it doesn't like go through too many like changes. So it just feels a bit one note until the choreo sequence and the step sequence at the end.
He still
So
showcases himself as a good skater, though. So
no,
I
but
appreciate that.
it's still a good program. I'm just saying comparatively to like how incredible that short is. For me, it just kind of makes it like it's good. It's good, but a problem with Kevin.
Yeah.
Boy just yeets himself in the air. He just throws himself in the air and hopes that it lands. Because look at his axis. Even on his triple lutz, his axis can be really strange. And he's still working on that quad toe. It's getting there. But you saw it during NHK. It was really inconsistent. He had to 2-foot it a few times.
Yeah, I had to go back and like refresh my memory. He actually hasn't skated that short program that we all love clean every single time. I was like, oh, it wasn't clean.
Did he go clean at ACI?
He must have, because I think he had some problems with the jumps in both short programs.
I
think he might have been better
remember
at
being
Skate
blown
Canada.
away at ACI, but I'm not sure. Yeah, his jumps are inconsistent.
Yeah, so
like, let's be
Kevin,
honest.
the Grand Prix final, this can be your moment.
Well, first of all, I believe he's the first Frenchman to like make the Grand Prix final in a very long time.
Since what, Brian Joubert?
I think so, yeah. He's an incredible skater. Like, he's really one of my new standouts. I just, he has to go clean because he doesn't have the tech advantage. He has the PCS advantage and good transitions, etc. Like, hence giving him the PCS advantage. But we know very well how these judges don't know how to score PCS at all. Like, they don't follow the rules.
That's right.
Yeah.
The judges need to do their job, which they don't. It doesn't always
They
make
don't
sense.
90% of the time. Yeah.
The only
It's
thing
like
is that this is a competition where they're all together. So hopefully the judges can judge more correctly because they have all of the top skaters to compare in the same competition to one another. That's all I can hope.
it's really, I think it's up in the air, personally, as to if the judging will be fair. But, like, people act like PCS is subjective. It is to a certain extent, but there literally are bullet points in the judging book that they have to hit to get certain levels on each section of PCS. So it's very frustrating when you see people just giving, like, love Nathan, but like a 9 on transitions, and I'm like, where? I don't see them. I don't see them. Oh yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to Kevin Amos for doing this like a really crazy entrance into his triple axel. He like does, I think, I don't know if it's a twizzle into a back counter, but he does a
that's
back
right.
he does a back counter axle, and I'm like, we love to see it. Those are rare.
We love it. We love it.
I know. I want to see more inventive entrances into triple axles in general. But I think that's a. Did we go over all the men?
We did.
I think this
Yeah.
is talking about triple axles is a good way to start talking about the ladies.
Oh, right.
Which-
Ladies, quads,
Okay,
and axles.
this is the real bloodbath. This, oh my gosh. Okay, so who would have? Okay, this season has been all so crazy, and we're only like halfway through it. Okay, so our contenders:
Yes.
Aliona Kostranaya, Alexandra Tosova, Anna Sherbakova, Rika Kahira, Alina Zagitova, and Brady Tunnell. Oh boy.
By the way, I
Where
would
do you
like
even-
to say on record that earlier in the season, I was discussing with the skating fan, and they were really sure that 5 Russian ladies would be at the final. And I said, no, I think it's going to be 4. I should have made that a bet because I won. Didn't know it was going to be Brady. I thought it was going
I
to
don't
be
think
Rika,
anyone did.
but kudos to Brady for squeaking in. She has
I know,
some flowers
okay.
to send to people.
I know, right?
So
Okay,
gold medal.
before we talk
go
about
ahead.
that, you were talking about the 5 Russians. Oh, Evgenia, so close. The thing is, her total score is actually higher than Alina. It's like her score was very high. Quick side note: I love Evgenia. She's improved monumentally since leaving Atiri, and I'm very proud of her for her constant hard work. And she seems like she's in a better place emotionally and mentally, and I'm so proud of her for that. Her skating has improved a lot, and I'm excited for her future. I think she could potentially skate for a long time if it makes her happy, and I think that's what matters.
That's
But
right.
anyway, going
I've
back,
already forgotten about how she did at Skate Canada. I do not know.
I watched that live, and I cried a little bit during the short.
Yeah.
Well,
Wasn't that your birthday too?
Yeah, that was
I'm
not a great
sorry.
birthday. But then Yuzu did very well, so I was like, okay, this kind of makes up for it. But at ACI, I saw her do the short clean live, relatively clean, and it was beautiful. Like, I almost started crying because I was on like 3 hours of sleep, and I was like, it's so beautiful.
No, I'm just
Okay.
looking on here. She's not even one of the alternates.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes to show you just how cutthroat this season has been for the ladies. Where do we even begin? Okay, gold medal competitor. We have 4 options, Justin. We have 4 people who could realistically make the goal.
You really think it's between 4?
Okay, I think Rika could squeeze it in.
You think?
Actually, she's pretty underscored a lot of the time.
Yeah,
And okay, I think gold's okay. Ideally, I would like Rika to be awarded for her excellent footwork and transitions in the way her programs are constructed on an objective level at a very high. They're very difficult, but I don't know if that's going to happen because, as we said, the judges are very biased. And I don't know if you saw that letter that the Russian Federation president sent out about his skaters getting unfair edge calls, but yeah, I have some words.
Yes,
for
I did see that.
I don't know if they're gonna like call out the edges of the AAA. Okay, so I think who gets gold all depends on whether Sasha decides to do a triple axel at this competition.
And Sasha is the nickname for Alexandra Trusova.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just talk about them so much. First of all, shout outs to all of these young women. They're girls basically. They're children. Aliona, Alexandra, and Anna. It's their first season in seniors, and they are all incredible athletes, incredible mental strength. They really are like incredible people, and I respect their work ethic. There are some problems with the technique. We'll get into that later, but I don't blame them for that. I blame their coaches. Let's be honest here. Itiri Tiburuzzi is not known for having the healthiest coaching practices, so I wish them the best. I really enjoy their skating, though, and I think I would like to see more of them, so I'm excited to see how the rest of this season unfolds. But did you see that video that Itiri posted of Sasha doing the triple axel?
Yes, I believe I did.
She's been training it. I think the results of this Grand Prix final depend on whether she decides to do that at the competition. Because
that would give her an edge in the short program.
And if she puts it in the long. Okay, so you saw... so Aliona Kostranaya, we did not know what was going to happen with her this season. Then, like, out of nowhere, pulls out a triple axel.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, excuse me?
Like, has she been hiding that all season?
Apparently, according to some sources I had, she hadn't done it because she was afraid of injury. But then they convinced her to do it because they were like, you need the tech advantage, like especially between your teammates. So she relearned it in 2 weeks.
That's insane.
That's according to some like rumors and sources I've heard. But like, if that's the case, like, dang girl, like, wow. But okay, so let's start with Aliona, because personally, yes, she's the one who I would like to see win the most, because I think she is objectively the best overall skater of those top three we just talked about.
I agree.
So let's start with what she is known for. Her skating skills and maturity on the ice. Yeah. Is she 16? She's 16, I think. She has better skating skills than like 23-year-olds sometimes.
She does. It's like very mature for her age.
And you can train something all you want, but like I think she just is innately talented at skating, at transitions and moving her feet across the ice. Her edges are beautiful. She's extremely fast with her crossovers. She's just extremely fast in general. Her ice coverage is pretty dang insane. Her posture is good. Her arms are good. And then her jumps are good too.
Yes.
And that's what's crazy. She's so well-rounded. Her spins, she may not be the most flexible lady in the field, but her speed and centering on them is insane. Like, the amount of speed she gets, like, I'm like, it's very impressive. And then we were all, even before she had the triple axel, like, I really wanted her to do well because I knew sorry, my computer's being weird. Give me a sec. Okay. Because, like, I was like, okay, even though she may not have a triple axel or a quad, she has such good skating skills and artistry that I think that would make up for it. And then she pulls out a triple axel.
Yeah. The question is, will the triple axel at the Grand Prix final boost up her PCS? Because at NHK Trophy, she did not get the highest PCS mark in either short or long.
Was it Alina?
Segment. Yes, Zagitova.
Okay, we'll talk about that later because that's an interesting case. But it's getting higher. I think one thing that I've talked about with other skating fans is that even though we are supposed to be objective with this sport and judges are supposed to objectively measure PCS, they tend to do it based off how often they've seen you. So the more often you're in a competition, as you are in competition more, your scores will increase.
The more you're clean in front of the judges. Exactly.
That's part of the reason why Evgenia was so dominant for a very long time, because she was so consistent in that. Say what you want, the judges seem to like that. And I love Evgenia, but it was really interesting because she was just never fell for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. She's one of those cases where a Russian lady skater is being underscored in PCS.
We don't talk about that so often.
And that rarely happens. Yeah. So it's like, can you overscore this one, please?
Yeah, right?
Well, it's like if you're going to overscore anyone, just please, I know.
Overscore the proper one. Come on.
Well, my thing is she's the most well-rounded skater with the best technique, except for her fluts. Okay.
I hope she knows she's a well-rounded skater too.
I saw that interview and I think she like has sort of been like taught that she's not that good, and that makes me
Oh,
sad
we need to change that as
because
fans.
she's an absolutely incredible skater. Let's talk about the triple axel. I like comparing her and Rika because they have the triple axels going into this. They are very different triple axels.
Yes, they are.
For me, Aliona's is more of a Midori Ito, just get up there. Like, and I'm not saying she's like getting the height of Ito, but it's a huge jump. And it even has a leg wrap like Midori Ito. So my thing is, it's a bigger jump, but because of that leg wrap, she struggles to get around.
Yeah.
And we've seen her under rotated like twice or two or three times. And sometimes because of the way her body position is in the air and how tight she is on that rotation, because she like barely squeezes it out sometimes, her leg can go a bit wild. Like her free leg comes out a bit wild, especially when she's going into the combination of the triple axel double toe. It'll kind of just wildly swing around and then plant, and then she'll do the double toe. So I think that's not super aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it's distracting sometimes. Even sometimes I'll look and it might look like it would be an under rotation, but it's not. It's just the leg wrap.
It's not. Yeah, and this is something that Aliona has. She has a leg wrap on basically all her jumps. And it wasn't an issue before when she didn't have a triple axel. But now it's sort of, I think she's trying to figure out the balance of tightening it or like making it wider, because what I think is that if she tightens it too much, she'll over rotate it because she gets so much height and speed. So, and delaying a rotation like that is very difficult. So by doing the leg wrap, you're slowing the rotation down and making sure you don't over or under rotate, based off what I've been told by other skaters and skating fans. So I think she's sort of trying to like, obviously the jump is in its infancy relative to like other jumps that she's trained. Like she's still training this. It's still new. But because of the leg wrap, I think she's having issues with the landing. The takeoff and the jump itself in the air are good. Even the leg wrap in the air isn't super distracting because of just how beautiful the height and distance are. But the landing makes it hard to like fully appreciate it.
That's right.
So I hope she cleans that up and works on those rotations. One thing I noticed, she does have that leg wrap in like basically all of her jumps, but in her triple flip, triple toe combination, in order to get the full height and rotation on that triple toe, she tightens up her body position up a lot more on that second jump. So I think that's really interesting.
She pulls it off.
Yeah, so my point is I think she can tighten up the position. I think she just doesn't know how to control it if she does. That's my theory.
Yeah. I actually prefer Rika Kahira's triple axel. You know, I think that's a more solid jump with Rika's technique. But Aliona does transitions, which I appreciate.
Let's talk about those transitions. She changes edges like 4 times. I don't know the exact moves for those transitions. I probably should learn those. But the transitions into those triple axels are difficult. I haven't seen a men's skater do that, like, ever. She does it. So I cannot overstate enough how incredible she is as a skater. Like, to be able to pull that off at 16 with transitions, with incredible skating skills.
In a program.
And, like, just out of, like, two of them in the beginning of a program. And I'm like, it's incredible. She's truly an incredible skater. They all are, but I have a ton of respect for what she did to be able to pull that off so quickly with so little training. Let's talk about, I think since we're talking about triple axels, let's quickly jump to Rika's triple axel. I agree. I like Rika's more. It's tighter. It's more fluid. She has a better running edge out of it. And she doesn't under-rotate it as much.
No. It's not always clean, but, you know, she has good success rate.
Okay, but let's talk about how much it's improved since last season.
Yes.
It was her nemesis in the short program.
Was.
Every time. I'd be like, oh, time to watch Claire de Lune. Oh, God.
Or it was in the long program when she landed it in the short.
Well, she never got both. But I give her huge amounts of praise and credit because she has gotten so much more consistent with that jump. She hasn't fallen on it. She 2-footed it once in her free. I forget which competition. I don't know if she fell. I don't think she fell, but she's improved so much with it. So huge respect to her. That's insane.
And doing 2 at the beginning of the program, she just continues on. All the other jumps are so easy for her.
Well, actually, in her free program, second triple axel is it's not quite in the second half, but it's like after like it's like the third or fourth jumping pass. So
Oh, they're not back to back this season.
remember,
That's
I don't know if
right.
they were trying to get the bonus. I don't know if it's the second in the second half, but if it is, if it isn't, they should move it to the second half. Like honestly, but yeah, Rika's is tighter. It's more practice. She's had more time to practice it. She relies on her tight body speed, the body position and speed across the ice to get that triple axel. And I'm not saying it's worse because of that. I think it's better because it has better technique. It's more fluid. It's tighter. But we'll have to see how Aliona's develops. Do you want to go and talk about Aliona's programs real quick?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, Departure. The Departure in November, otherwise known as the Angel program. She used it last year. I think it's okay to use it because it's a good program. And she is just so elegant that she makes it work.
Was she a junior last year?
Yeah, she used it for juniors. I will say I like the old dress more. I'm not a big fan of gloves on skaters. Don't know what was happening there. But she is doing a really good job with it. I mean, since we've seen it before, I don't have too much more to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the unexpected favorite for me of this season has been her Twilight program.
No, I like it too.
Okay, they have the classic Danny G bad music cuts, but she sells it so hard that she makes it work.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I want to touch on with Aliona is her interpretation's beautiful. Her skating skills are great. The composition, that's more on Danny's shoulders for
choreographer.
Yeah, so I think there is improvement to be had on the composition because, as we know, Danny G isn't the greatest choreographer, to put it mildly. I have a lot of feelings about that. I'm not going to get into that right now. Transitions, tons of them. And also high quality. That's one thing. They are high quality transitions.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to interpretation. Great interpretation. I think her weakness in PCS is actually performance. Because,
you do?
Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. During the short program, in the beginning of the long, they both have similar tones. They're very like angelic and soft. I think she struggles to emote with that music. And by struggle, I mean when you compare it to herself.
Okay.
She's doing a lot better than like everyone else, basically. But like I'm saying, like I just noticed
it's like,
that
she can do more.
I feel as if she has some room to grow into like just. I don't know if it's like the lack of face necessarily, or it just feels as if there's a little bit more she can give to the performance in in that type of music. But then we get to the second half of the long program, and she eats that program up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like she sells it so hard, and I think that's the reason why I love it so much. You can tell it's something she wanted to skate to.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of random, but she makes it work. Like
exactly, and like also like she's a 16-year-old girl who loves Twilight. Like let her live her life. Like she's killing it.
It's age appropriate. I'll allow it.
And she like has so much fun with it. I especially love the last part. Where she does the like little dance number, then like throws in that triple lutz, and
I think I know some older skating fans who don't like the second half of her free skate, but it's like she's 16. Let the girl live.
And also, like it kind of works.
It does, yes.
Strange way. Like I don't know how it works, but it does. Yeah, honestly, I'm very impressed with how she sells it. She makes it work. She does. She has a flutz sometimes and a lutz sometimes. She can sometimes get the outside edge and sometimes not. I think it depends on the circumstances, her mental state, like, and just random luck. But they haven't been calling her on her lutz edge, so I don't know.
We'll see what happens at the final next week.
I love her.
Have we spoken about Trusova? She's the one with many quads.
I mean, she's the... Okay.
I think she's the one to beat. I think when you're everyone can win, I think Trusova will win.
So I think it's between Aliona and Trusova. Okay. So here's my thing. Aliona has the advantage in the short program. She now has the world record for the short program. Deservedly so. She has a triple axel there. Oh, yeah. You can't put quads in the short, so that puts Trusova at a disadvantage. If this were being judged fairly, I would have Aliona winning no matter what because she has far superior skating skills, interpretation, spins, the step sequence is better. Just she beats her out in all of those other factors.
But how are her quads coming along?
Apparently, she actually is training a quad sal, but like I don't know. I don't think she'll do it here. But Trusova obviously has the jump advantage. So
She has a
people
variety of them.
people may want to like give Trusova grief for her lack of skating skills. I personally think that's an area where she needs to grow. I have insane respect for her though. What a
Yeah.
tough cookie, and like she's just like, I'm gonna do all these quads. You're gonna watch me, and I'm gonna prove you wrong that like a lady can't do these.
Yeah,
And
no
you know
matter what
what?
your opinion is on her, she's still doing her thing, which is like doing so much on the ice, so many quads, and like being
And
clean.
you well, relatively, and I think that's
Yeah.
where it's get interesting. I really think she's such a fighter, such a like an incredible technician in terms of jumps, and I respect her for that. Also, have you seen how ripped she is?
No.
Like, she's like pure muscle. It's kind of crazy. But
She's also tiny. So
yeah,
she's just a little muscle thing on the ice.
yeah. So her quad toe, I've seen it. It's actually a legit quad toe. It has pretty good technique, and she lands it. Her posture out of it isn't the best, but it's a legit quad toe. Her, excuse me, her quad sal. While it hasn't been super consistent this season, the takeoff is good. I've seen it in slow motion. The takeoff is good. Her quad luts, she has an outside edge, but it's like pre-rotated. But it's not the worst I've seen, and it gives her an advantage. She has a quad toe, triple toe, that she's just doing.
Hmm.
And then a quad toe, Euler, triple sal, or triple flip. That's incredible. Let's be honest. And she's landed both of them like several times at these competitions.
That's even incredible for a man. Like listening to
Like,
that
yeah,
out
like
loud
regardless of like gender,
or age.
yeah, yeah. I'm just like, girl, like
Wow.
her tech score has been pretty crazy. And while I do think it's very inflated at times, because let's be honest, if you look at some of the landings and transitions, they aren't the best. She does deserve a very high tech score because she's like doing several quads.
Hmm.
She's doing more than than a lot of the men. It's very impressive what she does.
Yeah, and people want to talk about her program components. If you think they're too high, that's fair for you to believe, but they are at least lower than some of the other top ladies. She gets
I
mid eights, right?
I think they should be lower.
You
This is
do?
where I disagree with you, Justin. I think they are being very generous with those components.
Would
I
you give her
love
sevens?
give her sixes and sevens. Let's be honest here. Her crossovers are so scratchy. She's not in
They
sync
are.
with her legs when she does that. Her posture particularly bothers me, and her arm movements. It's not. Obviously, we're spoiled with Aliona because Aliona is very mature, but like she hasn't matured yet and learned how to do that as effectively yet.
Hmm.
And I think that is largely because she's training so many quads. And I'm obviously giving her credit for all the quads, but at the same time, it's frustrating when you see a better skater overall get high PCS, but then Trusova, who is a great skater, but is very specialized in what she does, get also relatively decent PCS when she shouldn't. Like, if we break it down,
Yeah.
my friend broke it down, and it's still too high. And that's what's frustrating to me. Particularly, like, when she was facing off, like, against Rika and Evgenia and stuff, it's like, she would have won regardless.
Mhm.
Like, you didn't need to inflate her PCS like
That is
that.
true.
And I think Itiri's politicking, if you'll put it that way, she knows how to get her skaters on top. And I'm not diminishing the work they put in, because most of the time these girls would win anyway.
Yeah.
But sort of just like the nail and like the here, just in case. Like, and I think that just sets a dangerous precedent for what's supposed to be a sport when you can't fairly judge athletes. And also, I think it's sort of like one of those issues where it's like, it doesn't necessarily give the skater the incentive to improve or give them even a direction of where to improve.
Yeah, you do make a good point. Because what if
I hope I'm not
Trusova
coming
just... No, that's fine. What if she
Like,
just
I
thinks,
love
if I'm just
Trusova.
clean, if I just, do more quads and over time, will my PCS just go up naturally? It's like, no, she needs to work on other areas of her
But
skating.
her PCS might go up naturally because
Yeah.
look, I mean, it happened with Evgenia when she went consistent. Evgenia is a very emotive skater, and she had good skating skills back then, but they weren't the best. But now now that it's interesting because now that she has improved a lot in her skating skills, she's kind of living up to the PCS they were giving her a lot more. So I think that's a very interesting case. Yeah, I really like Trusova. I just really want to see her become a more well-rounded skater. That's my big thing right now.
I think a lot of
But
skating fans would agree with you.
I love her, and she's just her jumps are like it's insane what she does. Like let's be like I cannot fathom what she does, but
No.
she could.
How do
She
you?
just is a bit more well-rounded.
That's true.
Sorry.
How would you compare her to Sherbakova?
Okay, listen, Justin.
And I don't
have a
have
lot-
much of an opinion, so I want to hear from you.
Okay. Well, also, let's just talk about Alexandra's programs real quickly. I think her short program is a very difficult piece of music to skate to, especially when you're 15 coming out of juniors and are still working on your skating skills, especially that step sequence. The music is accelerating during the step sequence. I think that makes it harder for her to, it doesn't feed into her strengths. That's my point. Her spins are pretty good, but I actually don't mind the program. I think it's bombastic enough that it works for her. My biggest issue is with the Game of Thrones program. You're dressed as Daenerys. Like, there's like nothing about Daenerys in it. I don't even watch Game of Thrones, but
I don't know anything about Game of Thrones.
But like people have said, like there's no Daenerys in this, and I'm like, then why is she dressed as Daenerys?
Interesting.
But I mean, yeah, I think the program it's beautiful music, but I don't know if it fits Chusova. I was expecting more bombastic, like Game of Thrones music. So,
By the
I
way,
think
sorry to interrupt. What do you mean by bombastic?
like bigger, bolder,
Okay.
more energetic.
Grand.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I for me I think it would have been cool if they combined some of the softer elements of that music and then it flowed into like something more upbeat towards the end or something because it feels a bit one note at the moment. But we'll see how it grows. Okay, now Sherbakova. Okay,
Go right
I have
into
a
it.
lot of feel. So Sherbakova is sort of the dark horse of the AAA. The AAA, I mean Alexandra, Aliona, and Anna. She got third overall in terms of her total scores for the Grand Prix so far. She is very interesting to me. She doesn't have a triple axel, but she has a quad lutz. Let's be honest there. That is a weird jump. Her jump technique, in my opinion, is the worst of the three. She has some very strange jump technique going on. At the same time, though, she's a beautiful skater. And that's what's so interesting to me about her. She is sort of polarized in several different directions. Her jump technique is very strange, but she has incredible spirals and flexibility. She has beautiful upper body movements and posture and arms, but her skating skills aren't the best and her edges are kind of shallow. She has incredible performance quality and really good interpretation, but at the same time, it feels a bit juniorish. She's a very polarizing skater, not in terms of how people like her, but in terms of what she's good at. And I think that makes her very interesting to watch because you just it's sort of like you're watching, you see how good she can be in the future, but also you see how good she is now, and you're like, holy crap, this is incredible. And I think she is the best performer out of the three, not interpreter, performer. Because, she just really knows how to channel the music, and she gives really good face. I like both her programs. Objectively, I think they're the best of the Tutberidze girls this year. The short program's haunting. It suits her flexibility really well, and she really feeds into it. I do think it's kind of inappropriate that's from a movie about... Do you know what the movie's about?
Say the movie again.
It's called Perfume. It's a movie about a serial killer. Yeah, it's kind of very inappropriate that that's the context, but if you ignore the context, it's a very eerie, beautiful program. But then that dress change. It's my favorite moment of the season, just seeing. But obviously, even without the dress change, she channels that program perfectly. She is this calm, beautiful, blue muse in the beginning, and then the music changes, the red dress comes on, and then she becomes the Firebird. And it's just packaged so brilliantly, and it's so strange to me because I'm like, a Danny G program I actually like.
So I haven't watched much of Sherbakova. I think like I've read about her, so I'm
I
excited to see what
I
it's about.
you haven't watched the program?
No, I think I
Okay.
maybe have like watched it once live for Skate America. I was like working a lot. I didn't see her second
Yeah.
Grand Prix, so I'm
Okay,
gonna be
watch it when you get the
focused.
chance.
Yeah,
Because the program itself, I think it's actually like a very well pro packaged program. I love the music. I actually think the cuts are good here, and she does it beautifully. And her performance quality, good face. She really feels the music with her body. I really respect her for that, and that's like one of the reasons I love to watch her because she just has this very like not. It's a very specific type of energy. What it's like fairy like energy. I mean, yeah,
I hear ya.
she, yeah. It's really hard for me to describe. Sorry if I'm mumbling about random stuff, but I
No,
just
that's
really
good.
like a lot of elements of her skating. But then that takes me to the elements that need work, and then we see her jump technique. Now, there's been endless discourse about that quad lutz, and people were like
I've
comparing
heard.
her and Boyang Jin's, and you kind of have to compare them because if you're going to give someone credit for a quad lutz, you got to compare it to a textbook quad lutz, which Boyang's is. So, where to begin? So the big issues. She switches to an inside edge. She flutzes. Even on her triple lutz, she flutzes.
Hmm.
She uses a full blade assist rather than the topic, and she pre-rotates more than 180 degrees.
So
So
she has
there
a
is
heavy pre-rotation.
heavy
Okay.
pre-rotated quad flux with full blade assistance.
Wow. I asked because I have a hard time recognizing pre-rotations, but if hers is a major one, I'll pay attention to
But the
her
thing is, you
lutz.
have to look even. I mean, it is hard. It's hard to spot these things in fast motion. But part of my issue is that the technical panel does have slow motion access to these things, so
They
it's like you
do.
can't see it. And even there's this great video comparing Boyang and Anna, and I don't mean this as any insult to Anna, but let's be honest, it's a heavily pre-rotated quad lutz. She gets like around 3.25 revolutions in the air. Should they get the same base value as a quad lutz? Should that be scored as a positive GOE quad lutz? I don't think it should because it's incorrect technique. She has a poor takeoff because she pre-rotates so much. Her body position is nice, but she also has the wrong edge, and then in some cases she under rotates it, so she's barely like pulling it off at all. But I understand the need to have it when you're competing with a girl with a triple axle and a girl with like three different types of quads.
But
But the
just one
problem,
quad lutz, even if it were clean, that's probably not enough to make her totally stand out for much longer.
that's the thing, and she's doing two in her free skate. She's doing one in combination with the triple toe, which is extremely impressive, and then one just on its own. I think she has nice body position and a nice rotational speed. I think she kind of like she looks very elegant when she hits that position, but there's a lot to unpack with the technical side of that jump, and that extends to a lot of her jumps. Her triple lutz also has the inside edge issue. She doesn't get much height on her jumps. She uses the rip on in order to get all her height because if you extend, you go up, like
Yeah.
generally. So she relies on that. She also barely has any running edge coming out of her jumps. No outside edge
Okay.
on her landing foot. For those who don't know, that's what a running edge is. So if you notice, the only jump she really has a running edge on, like she has some on her double axle, but her quad lutz, she has one because she gets more speed and power out of that one. But on her like triple flip, for instance, or her triple her triple flip Euler triple sal, there's like no running edge on it, and that's a problem because you can't say that that's a great landing. You can't say that she has the best skating skills if she doesn't have good running edge, and it's sort of like she's interesting because she has so many strengths but also so many weaknesses, and that's true for most athletes, but hers are like kind of in direct opposition to each other. She's a beautiful skater with great upper body movement and great performance. Sorry, not interpretation. She has good interpretation, but great performance. But she doesn't have the best skating skills. She doesn't get the deepest edges. And because of that, her footwork isn't as good. She has a quad lutz, but also has a poor running edge. Do you see the connection I'm making here? She has a lot of elements that directly oppose each other. So it sort of becomes this issue of how do we even judge And
Did the
then
GOEs cancel each other out, the positives and negatives?
that's the thing. And I think she is being overscored, as all the top three girls are, let's be honest. But I think we'll just have to wait to see what happens.
Yeah. And
I like
then,
her. I could see her getting bronze. I predict bronze for her. I think gold is going to be a toss-up between Aliona and Trusova. I think bronze will go to Anna.
I would like to see
Unless,
Rika with the bronze.
let's go to Rika now. Oh, Rika. You get so... okay, people have this perception that I don't like Rika because I don't like her free
No, you
program.
love Rika.
I adore Rika. My God, she's the most well-rounded skater I've ever seen. She has great skate. I mean, Aliona is well-rounded, yes, but like she doesn't have a true Lutz.
Mm-hmm.
Rika has a true Lutz. So when I say she's the most well-rounded skater, there are like no major technical issues, and that is insane. Like I'm like, she has a triple axel, good jump technique, no edge problems there, nice flexibility, great spins, good skating skills. Like she's such a complete skater, and she's only like 17. I think the issue though is that she's having bad luck this season more than anything. She's injured. She hasn't been able to do the Lutz, and that costs you.
Yeah.
Especially a triple Lutz. Like it's gonna cost you. And she normally puts 2 in her programs, but she can't do that anymore. And that gives you like an extra like 2-3 points, and that makes all the difference.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard for me to watch a competition with Rika because I love her so much. She can have an edge after the short program because, she does a triple axel, but now these other girls do. But I think, as we saw at NHK, sometimes not having a quad will hold her back, which is so hard to say sometimes.
Not even having a quad, just not having the triple Lutz.
Yeah, that too. And then even like program component marks aren't as high as they should be sometimes.
They should be way higher.
Yeah.
Like I don't think her performance quality is the best. I think she interprets well. Like she matches the music very well because she follows the choreography and she knows how to accent everything. But I still don't feel connected emotionally sometimes.
Okay.
Beautiful Storm was my favorite program for her, but I'm still not connected to these 2 programs this season. And that also is because I have a bias because I find them to be they're appropriative to a certain extent. I like wrote a thread about this on Twitter, and like people were
it went viral. Maybe you've seen it.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I obviously, I love Rika, and I didn't blame her for that. It's the decisions of the choreographers and coaches. But my issue is because of that, I have a hard time connecting emotionally to those performances. Mm-hmm. But objectively, they are jam-packed with transitions. They are well-constructed compositionally in terms of where ice coverage, where she jumps, where she spins, the step sequence, the choreography sequence. She should be getting high PCS and be given credit for her technically complex programs that are, like Aliona, for instance, has pretty similar jump content, but is scoring a lot higher. So it's like, I think Rika needs to be a bit higher as well. Even though she doesn't have a triple Lutz, give her a bit of a PCS boost, and like her GOE maybe should be a little higher. It's weird. Japanese skaters tend to get underscored. We already know this in terms of like where they should be, but it becomes an issue when you literally have a girl with a triple axel and like perfect jump technique who is having trouble in a way, like in her own way.
Yeah.
I could see her if Anna falls, if they call Anna's under rotations, if they call her edges, Rika could take it. Especially because Rika has the advantage in the short program because of the triple axel. Mm-hmm. And Anna struggles with her short program. She fell once on her footwork. Oh, that was
I think
funny.
I did see that.
Poor thing.
Poor thing. But, yeah, so the Grand Prix final, talking about all of this, it's like a good reminder to me that I really want to watch all of this live, which is going to be hard for some of us on the West Coast. I saw the time, at least for the men's, it's like 4 a.m. for the long program.
NHK was wild. Like in terms of timing, I just was asleep. I was like, I'm not doing this.
You're gonna wake up to like see all the chaos that happened.
That's what happened at Worlds too. I was too tired to do it, and then like it went to hell.
Oh no, we have one more lady to discuss, and it's Brady Tennell, the sole North American qualifier.
Don't we have 2 more?
Who did we miss?
Alina, our Olympic champion.
Oh, well, we've mentioned her before, but
let's
talk about her.
Yes. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of Alina's skating.
Me neither.
But I love her. She's amazing.
You love
my favorite.
Her? Okay.
As a person, like she's.
Okay, she is cute as a person.
I love her as a person because mainly because she said this one thing and like someone asked a dumb question. It's like, do you want a boyfriend? And apparently the Russian translation of it was like, if, I don't want it.
It's
And
I do not want.
I was like, yes, girl. Honestly, get it. I really think she's like, she just seems like very sassy in her own way. I respect her hard work and determination. I expect her for backloading back in the day because that's exceptionally difficult
You
to
know,
do.
she put in the work.
She deserved the gold because that was crazy to do. Big problems though. Posture, arms, skating skills are weird because she can do a lot of great transitions, but like the quality of them can be a bit weird. And her jumps haven't been there lately. I can see her getting fifth.
Okay.
Because I think she's skating for herself now. She has said that she's skating because she wants to enjoy it, and she seems happier, which I am so happy for her about. I really like her short program this season. The free program not so much because of like appropriative issues, but like she has like decent programs this year. If she goes clean, they could give her a PCS boost and she could win something. Like maybe if Rika and like Anna both flop hard, like maybe she could take it. But
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna happen this year.
Probably
I
not.
love her. She's been struggling with her triple Lutz, triple loop combo. She's been under
Oh,
rotated.
it's so hard to watch when she pops that loop. It's, whoops.
I mean, yeah, it's also like her Lutz is now just the Flutz. And I really love her as a human being, like as a persona, like I think she's a very young, nice, mature young girl. I just think that because of the toll that things have had on her body, and because of also like the new generation of Atiri students, it's going to be very difficult for her to medal, unfortunately.
Well, you know, she is the reigning Olympic champion. No one can
And I
take that away
respect her.
from her.
She's won everything, every major title she can win, and like, girl, she deserves it. Honestly, like
Right?
you know,
So yeah,
like
skating for herself is going to be
it's
something that's really
important. And
important.
she seems happier this season, which I'm because she seemed really distressed last season because I think there was so much pressure on her to do well to make sure they got those 3 Russian spots. But I think she's skating for herself now, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that the top 3 ladies from NHK all qualified for the Grand Prix final. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
a rematch, but I don't think Alina's competitive in that way right now, which is
Well,
fine.
because she's facing like girls with like 4 like, I mean, who is competitive? Like, it's like even Rika's having a hard time,
Yeah,
and that's saying a lot because Rika is an insanely like technical. She's just a very good skater who has a lot of great jump. I know I have a lot of feelings. So one issue
you
with
do.
Rika is that her jumps are kind of small,
I've seen
but that's
smaller.
yeah. Satoko. Oh, I love Satoko.
At least she's an alternate.
Yeah. Okay, want to talk about our last ladies?
Yes, Brady. I don't know your opinions on her. I think the world knows that I like her this season. I was not on the Brady Tennell train, even as a North American, when the U.S. Federation were really pushing her as the grand lady heading into the Olympics. I did not agree with that. But yeah, I'm down with her programs this season.
A lot of people give her grief and dislike her. I actually have a bit of a soft spot for her because I know she's a hard worker who like just gets there through like just working over and over. And I think she earned it this year. She performed very well. I think like she has a flux. The edge is unclear, but she has solid jumps overall. Her spins are amazing.
They
Great
are.
spins. Fantastic spinner. And she's improving in terms of like the emotional connection and interpretation. She's getting there. I think she's a strong contender to be the next big, like, she's, like, going to be big these next 2 years or so, because she's pretty consistent and has a lot of quality traits to her. Like, there are a lot of, like, striking negatives, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, that does.
Like, she's a well-rounded skater.
That's right.
And
You
I
want
would
to say
like
what
to
those
see...
negatives are?
Oh, sorry?
Do you want to say what those negatives are?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is, well, can get hunched over
Posture.
a lot
Yeah.
in her posture. Posture's an issue. Stiffness, she tends to lack fluidity, but I think because of that, the short program's really good for her. I actually really like her short this season. And also her connection to the music.
Fair enough.
She struggles. People constantly harp on her for her performance, and I get that. I think she has room to grow. I think it's getting better, but given the level of competition this year, I don't see her medaling.
Oh, at the Grand Prix final?
Yeah,
I don't see that as an option unless something is
unless,
really bad in the water, on the ice there. I don't know. And
I
she's
mean,
the
if
only
it's
one
like
that stands up.
if it's like IDF, where there literally were puddles of water on the ice.
That's right.
I really respect her for how much she's improved, and I think she's come a long way. And I'm glad that like the U.S. are somewhat getting their ladies together again. Like we're seeing
Yeah.
some strength. It's interesting because I don't think anyone expected her to do as well as she did, and I think a lot of people were upset about that, especially when she like outperformed Cowrie. But the thing is, Cowrie's like one of my favorite lady skaters ever. But like, I think it was deserved to like. I think she deserved to be on that podium, and I think she deserves to be at this final. I just don't think she's gonna medal.
Yeah. I think she does have some competitive scores this season, though, because she didn't last year.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. But it's like, what even is competitive anymore? We're seeing 160s in
80s.
ladies. Yeah,
80s
we're
for the
seeing
short program.
we're seeing 160s in the free skate for the ladies,
Oh,
which are
that's
so
so
bad. Like
high.
150s. Like we're in the thick of like people talk about the quad revolution. We're in that sort of like equivalent for the ladies, where it's like all the techniques are getting upped and upped and up, and we just don't know what's happening anymore.
We don't. I am someone who likes to make bets every now and then. I've made 0 on the Grand Prix final across all
Especially the
disciplines, really.
ladies,
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah. Are you ready to talk about pairs?
yes. I'll let you do the
All
majority of
right. Oh,
these two because
we'll see.
they are they are not my strength. Pairs and ice dance are not my strength, but I do enjoy them
All right.
thoroughly.
We'll see what you have to say. So,
Yeah.
in qualifying order, we have Wen Sui and Song Han of Canada of China, Alexandra
Sui and Han?
Boykova. Yeah. Alexandra Boykova and Dmitry Kozlovsky of Russia. And then we have Cheng Peng and Yang Jin of China, Anastasia Mishina, Alexander Galyamov, then Kirsten Moore Towers and Michael Marinero of Canada, and then Daria Pavlyuchenko and Denis Kodikin. And I have in my notes, I believe the gold medal is between Sui and Han, and then Russia's Alexandra Boykova and Kozlovsky. I think they've scored really similarly at their Grand Prix this season. It's just going to be who skates clean. I have a personal preference over performance style, choreography, the way the programs are laid out for Sui and Han. But Wenjing Sui has admitted that she can have some trouble with the jumps due to an injury that was
Yeah,
sustained over the summer.
that's what I was gonna say. It depends on their injury status.
Yeah. Do you
Like
like
I
Sui and
think,
Han? I don't
oh,
know
I
your
adore
opinions.
them. Their throws are insane.
Gosh,
Also,
yes.
the free program is just so. It's the same one they did last year, but to be fair, they only did it like twice last year. It's sort of like a Yuzu moment where it's like Origin and Notoniel again, but we only saw them like 3 times, so I
Yeah.
don't mind it at all. Beautiful program, love their throws. I think they have good artistry, and a lot of chemistry on the ice.
Yes, they're
And
very passionate.
yeah, I like that, and I especially love their opening choreography for the free.
Yeah. They have a
It's
winning
just
streak at least the past
they've
two
been doing
seasons.
very
Yeah.
well. I think they could win it provided they stay healthy and they don't pop their salves
That's right.
because
So
that's
stay
like
clean,
apparent.
please.
I've heard they have trouble with that.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I've seen them have troubles on their toes too.
I know it's funny to me that they have less trouble on their throws than their jumps sometimes.
The programs are so amazing, though. At NHK, I believe, in their free skate, within the first 5 seconds, they received an applause from the audience just from like doing a basic like choreographic
Just for
move,
being there.
just for being present.
I
They
mean,
were
I feel like that's
applauded.
a lot of top skaters. This is like Yuzu blinks. Ah! Nathan just slow.
Woo!
But aren't they holding the world record for the short right now?
That is true.
I mean, that's impressive. I know. I'm gonna bet on them. Not actual money, but I think it's them.
Oh, I think it could be close because Alexandra Boykova and Dmitry Kozlovsky, they have momentum. They are young, they have a lot of high energy, and in fact, they find themselves winning a Grand Prix for the first time this season, and it was actually both of their competitions. So,
Yeah.
I would give the sophistication like edge over to Sway and Han, but the judges do like Boykova and Kozlovsky, so I'm not making a bet.
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting.
And then I have it. I think every other pair can has a chance for winning the bronze medal. If I were to bet like 5 cents, I'd probably give it to Kirsten Moore Towers and Michael Marinero of Canada, just because they had such a strong moment at NHK. Both programs, I
Can
think,
you
was
remind me of their
perfect.
programs?
Gosh, no, I'm horrible with memorizing music. But I know Kirsten Moore Towers is in the midnight blue dress with a short, and that suited the music. And then she was in a very Greek goddess ethereal dress for the free skate, if that says anything.
Yeah.
But Kirsten and Michael, they've had an interesting journey together. It took a few seasons to really gel as a pair, and then the tech content kind of went away. It seems like it's all coming together right now. And even though they won Canadian nationals before, they weren't perfect when they won those titles. I just hope they have the skate of their lives again that was shown at NHK at the Grand Prix final. They're going to need it for third place. I'm not
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, hey,
Yeah.
if now's the time to peak, peak
Right.
now.
Right? Please, no
And
mess
for world.
ups on the lifts.
Oh God, those.
Yeah. And Michael Marinero, don't be too intimidated. Land your jumps. Kirsten will not, attack you afterwards. There are some things I have critiques on with Kirsten and Michael, and I think a lot of it is Michael Marinero's posture when he does the lifts. They're a little scary sometimes. He's not as secure as some of the other pairs men who are at the
Why do you
top.
Why do you think I don't watch Paris too much? It's too scary for me. There's
Oh,
something really
that's
scary
right.
about people.
Oh, have you seen pairs live? Did you see them in ACI?
No, they were at ACI. Thank God, I would have passed out.
It is scary. The throws and lifts are massive in person, and like you see where the hand is, and it's like
You're like,
a
oh,
little slip,
okay.
and they're off.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Oh, so scary. So that is Kirsten and Michael. The one worry I do have for them, though, is that they might be wanting it too much. Because that's a
Like
problem
they
with
might,
a lot of North Americans suffer from this. They want the title too much. They know the momentum's in their favor, that they're thinking about it. And
they psych
really,
themselves out.
yes, this is the time to just skate with free abandonment and just enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, mental like mindfulness is really tough in those situations because it's hard to like stay calm when you are doing something like this.
That's right. Do you know of Anastasia Mishina and Alexander Galyamov?
Unfortunately, no.
No, okay. So I will just list off the bullet points I have on them. I actually think they have the next best chance from Kirsten and Michael to win the bronze medal here. So this has been a
Yeah.
really good international senior Grand Prix season debut for them. They are the reigning world junior champions, so it shows that they have experience under the belt, why they're so consistent.
Good for them.
Yeah, I feel bad saying this. I like to be so positive, but I don't really jive well with them yet, but I can acknowledge their strengths. All of their elements are really beautifully done. I can see liking them more in the future if they had better programs. They are very consistent. They have nice polish. I think they have the potential to put up a really big score, so I wouldn't count them out for the bronze medal here. But I am a big fan of the other Chinese pair that qualified for the
Oh yeah.
final. Oh, do you have you seen their short program a few seasons ago to My Drag?
No, I have not.
Oh, you really don't watch pairs. Oh,
I'm
I
really
heard
bad with pairs. It's hard for me to keep up.
it is
Oh,
scary. I'll give that to
remember, I'm a
you.
new fan.
That is true. So Chang Peng and Yang Jin, same story with Kirsten Moore Towers and Michael Marinero, a relatively new partnership, but they're finally looking so comfortable. They appear to like they've been skating for so long together. Love this
Oh, that's so
pair.
nice to see.
I know. So maybe you've heard of this. They're the Chinese pair that had the swap a few seasons ago because the Chinese Federation was like, you two are not doing well enough, so this is how it's going to happen. And
Oh,
then
that's so funny.
Yeah, so this pair, Chang Peng and Yang Jin, they're the ones who benefited from the
I mean, it
switch.
worked.
Yeah, it worked. I feel bad for the other partners though.
Ah!
So there's definitely some drama there for you to look into.
Oh, yay, more drama. Just what we
They're
needed. Figure skate.
right. They're not always perfect, but they're always a joy to watch. I like to call them the happy Chinese pair. They have a tendency to skate to more Western pieces of music, which is
Right.
unique. But hey, I don't mind it. I think at Skate America, some of the NBC commentators, I think it was Tanith White, was saying that Chang Peng is skating this season through an injury, so she's feeling constant pain, but doesn't feel like she should stop
Oh,
because of their
God.
momentum. So that's really hard to think about. So I
Well,
mentioned that because if Chang Peng and Yang Jin don't do well at the
that,
final, that's probably why.
that's really sad.
It
I
is
hope
really sad.
they need rest. Oh, God. The sport's so dangerous.
Yeah, so I love watching them. Even if they're clean, they don't really have the potential to score as high as some of the
Their
other
tech content
pairs.
isn't as high.
Yeah, and PCS. Like
Oh,
they're
okay.
happy and they're joyful, but not quite as sophisticated and sultry like Sway and Han.
Sultry. Ooh.
Oh, have you seen Sway's haircut? That's all sultry.
Yeah.
I can't remember someone on Twitter, I think it might have been a
No, they're all
skater.
beautiful.
Yeah, someone on Twitter, it might have been a skater, said Wenjing Sui no longer needs bobby pins because she just lets the hair fly in her face. And
She's
does that stop
awesome.
her from skating? No. We next have the Russians Daria Pavlyuchenko and Denis Kodikin, also young Russians. I realize I call
There's a
quite a
lot of
few of
young
these.
Russians coming
Yeah,
out.
I
I see.
call quite a few of these pairs young Russians, but there's a few of them. Also, like they're high energy, very exuberant, very
Yeah.
small. They're the ones who need a lot more polish, though. They have a lot of energy, but it really needs to be controlled. They're known as a hot and cool team to me.
Yeah.
I am happy that they qualified for the Grand Prix final because I know a lot of people are upset that the Russian veterans, Evgenia Tarasova and Vladimir Morozov, did not qualify. Did you hear about
Oh,
that?
really? They didn't?
No.
Oh, oh no.
They were off this season. They need to go back to that Candyman program. Just kidding.
Ah!
No, they don't. Do not come for me. I'm making a joke. To be fair, though, they have improved immensely since that program.
Just off season.
Yeah, so they do add something special to the mix for being at the final, just because they're so exuberant. They have more unique programs, more dynamic. Their free skate is to Tron by Daft Punk,
Oh, that's so cool.
right? I find that really cool and different from the other Russians. And they are also former World Junior champions. So if I were to place them somewhere, I'd say anywhere from third if they're lucky to sixth, but they just need to
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah. First time at the senior Grand Prix final. Have
I
fun with
know.
it.
Are you not going to watch the pairs at all at the final?
I probably will. I just need to catch up on them.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so uneducated on them.
No, do not apologize for anything.
It just
So,
it can be a lot to keep up with the sport, as you know.
oh, totally. So for ice dance, we'll end it
Oh,
here.
here we go.
Here are the qualifiers: Gabriela Papadakis and Guillaume Cizeron from France, then Victoria Sinitsina and Nikita Katsula. Oh, Nikita Katsulop. Okay, excuse me.
Katsalapov,
Yes, thank you, Brahim.
Piper Gills, and Paul Poirier,
Poirier. Yes.
Madison Hubble and Zachary Donahue, Alexander Stepanova and Ivan Buchan, and Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. Okay, right away. We all know who's going to win gold here. Look at the scores. Look at how the scoring has been. What
No
the
question
heck?
about it.
Well, and it's like not even a matter of like who's the best. It's just we know who. Like, okay, the Gabrielle and Guillaume got a world record on their short for a technically flawed program.
Yeah, world record, highest score
Yeah.
ever
Ever, like a 90
for
something.
rhythm
And I'm like,
dance.
and they had flaws. Like, I again, I'm rough with ice dance, but according to what I was told by some of my ice dance stands, basically they like messed up the pattern
Oh,
and got too close to the boards at one point, and like Gabrielle couldn't do this thing. But like, so specific, I know. But basically, I think we all know they're gonna win. Like, I saw someone say a joke of like, just they don't have to compete, just show up and get their medal, and they're done. And like, I'm not saying they're bad skaters because they're
no.
excellent, but it's like it's sort of like we've talked about like how scoring can be absolutely chaotic and not fair, but
Yeah, sometimes it's also good to a reminder to everyone that if you don't like the way a skater is overscored, sometimes it's not on the skaters. If you can redirect that
yeah,
energy to the judges or the
right.
tech specialist or the caller, that would be more appropriate.
Yeah, I want to be absolutely clear here. I mean, no ill will towards Gabrielle or Guillaume because I actually quite like them, and but my anger is at the judges and the scoring system. I do have a big problem with skating fans in general who get mad at the skaters. We've seen this with Evgenia. People get mad at her for being overscored. With Alina, we've seen that with Nathan. But again, people really just don't understand like that these people don't have any control over their own score other than how they do. They can't control how it's inflated or deflated.
Yeah.
That's on the judges.
And I can totally see how you may not be a fan of watching a certain skater because of the scoring, because let's be honest, that does affect the experience that we have as fans
Yeah,
viewing the
it's like
sport.
I love Nathan, but it's sometimes frustrating to watch because I like some of the scoring can be a bit off, and I really enjoy his skating, so it can be hard. I like Alina, but when she like gets really overscored on PCS, I get frustrated. But you never take it out on the people
No.
because they're people, and
Please
I've seen
don't tag them
people,
on Twitter with your
Yeah, I've
opinions.
seen a lot of people. Also, people have been tagging Ashley Wagner in criticism of her, and I'm like, what? And I think it's kind of funny at this point that now that she's like making it part of her career to drag them, but I'm like, why would you tag them? What?
And then they get shocked when they respond. It's like, these are
I
not
know.
A-list celebrities with social media managers.
Also, Ashley Wagner is like, she's not going to stay quiet.
Yeah, right?
She's tough. Like, I have a lot of respect for Ashley Wagner.
My best friend always sticks up for herself. Have you seen any of Gabriella and Guillaume's programs?
Yeah, I've seen both of them.
What do you think of their fame rhythm dance?
I think it's cute. I think it's fun. I actually quite like it.
Me too.
It's fun. I think it's just a lot of people have like made it hard for me to enjoy it because they're so angry about it.
Oh,
But then the free dance is very polarizing.
yes.
Okay, so obviously it's so pretentious. I'm not gonna lie and say
You
it
think it's
isn't, but like
pretentious? The spoken word poetry?
it kind of is. You
Oh,
can't
okay.
like, but at the same time, I kind of dig it.
Well,
Like I kind of like
they
it. Like,
go
they
for
kinda
it all the way.
Yeah, that's the thing. They commit so hard to it, and I actually like the parts where they're like boom and like and I'm like ah. I actually think it's really cool. I also like think it's like there's a lot of like emotion behind it, even if it is really heavy-handed. So I enjoy the program itself. I don't know enough about ice dance to speak on the technical levels because
Me too.
it's very complicated, but I like the programs. I just know that they're very overscored and they're probably going to win it.
Yeah, and listen, as you said earlier with some of the other disciplines, some of these people would still win even if you scored them accurately.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. That's why it's especially frustrating.
Yeah, so I think in general here, it's really, no, I was going to say everyone has a chance at the silver medal. No, because the way
No.
this season has been going, the way the judges have been overscoring them, they're set up to win the silver medal at the Grand Prix final.
Who you cut out for a sec. You were like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So, Victoria and Nikita of Russia.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. This has been a great season for them considering that they won their first Grand Prix events. They scored really well. Their rhythm dance scores are about like 85, 86.
Yeah.
So I actually like their Singing in the Rain rhythm dance. Not much else I have to say besides that their programs and their skating is lovely. So much that I don't really have a critique from a casual fan who doesn't know about ice dance, because I
Right.
really think the battle is for the bronze medal here.
Let's
Go
talk
ahead.
about that then.
Yeah.
Piper and Paul are definitely in contention for that.
Yes,
As are Hubble and Donahue.
yes,
As are Stepanova and Buchan, and potentially Chalk and Bates too. Like they're all strong teams, and that's where I think things are going to get interesting. Piper and Paul have had a very good season. Very good season. I'm very impressed with them. I saw their programs live, ACI. They're lovely programs. They're classy programs.
especially the free dance. I don't
Yeah,
love the rhythm dance.
yeah, same. But the free dance is beautiful. It's
It definitely
gorgeous.
is.
Um, Hubble and Donahue made some very interesting choices. My
That's one way
heart
to put it.
belongs to Daddy. I'm like, no, no, stop. I saw
It's
this
da da da
funny
da
comment.
daddy.
My heart belongs to Daddy. I'm like, okay, first of all, several questions. I think Patrick Skates, he does drunk commentary. He asked, "Who is Daddy?" And I think that's a valid question. Is Zach Daddy? Is Madison Daddy? Is the choreographer Daddy? No one
Is
will
daddy
ever
out
know.
of the picture? I mean,
Yeah, did Daddy leave them? Also, like, I just, I have, I have so many questions. Like, remember when Lauren LeCavier did her?
mhm.
Who watched that and was like, same. I want to do that too. Like, who watched that and was like, oh my god, that was so inspiring on a deep level. I really
We need
want
to
to try
take
to find.
note from that.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh lord. And also, it's really funny to me when they do such like sexual innuendo-y stuff in figure skating because it's like they try to make it such like like they try to make it on the surface that everyone can enjoy the sport. Like they don't allow swear words or anything. But then you have like "My Heart Belongs to Daddy" as a song, and I'm like, girl, like we know. Okay, you can have whatever kink you want. I'm not shaming you for that. But like, why here and why now?
Whose
Like,
idea was this?
no, I want to know who thought of this. Apparently, I've heard rumors saying that they'd been wanting to do it for a while, and I'm like, huh?
Why?
Like
Yeah.
I just
And
want
it's such a
explanation.
shame because they're actually, I saw them at Skate Canada.
They're such
They're
good
so much
skaters.
better than their programs.
I know that's what's really interesting. They're very powerful skaters. They have great speed. They commit to the programs even though the programs themselves aren't good or appealing.
Yeah, they do
Well, I mean, they
have
aren't
a history.
bad in terms of technical layout,
Hmm.
but like, I think they're just not very well packaged. Even the Lady Gaga Shallow program, the music cuts are so bad.
Oh,
It's
they
really
don't work for me.
you can't enjoy the program.
No, I was sitting in the audience at Skate Canada and I heard some really loud Canadians talking during their program and it wasn't working for anybody.
Yeah, I don't think it's playing to the audience's favor. It's not playing
Yeah.
to the audience, and I think that's a weakness. And it's not playing to the judges because the judges are probably like, "Why the fuck are these people?" Oh, sorry, you'll
No,
have to
you can
bleep that out.
cuss. No,
I don't.
we'll leave it in.
No, they're probably like, "Why the hell are these people like broadcasting their daddy kink?" The
The thing
judges are,
is,
but I don't know.
they're
Maybe the judges are into that. I mean, they're very good, and they made the Grand Prix final.
they qualified.
I'm so confused.
Well, the thing is, they did have the first two Grand Prix of the season. So then the question is, did they use the next 5 weeks to
To train like crazy.
change anything?
New programs. No more heart belongs to daddy.
They
Imagine if
mute
they
out the
changed.
daddy part.
My heart belongs to. Yeah, I hope they change her dress though. It's not the most flattering cut on her. She's
Oh, I
beautiful.
really
But
actually,
I think. Well,
as
I
much
think
as people don't like hearing the daddy part in the rhythm dance, I really hope they just at least rework the cuts of the free
no. Just
dance.
keep the other part in the. No, get rid of my heart belongs to daddy and keep the second half
Oh,
of the
what?
rhythm dance. Like I don't know. Yeah, no. I feel like
Something.
the free dance can be really good, but the cuts are horrible.
No. We'll see what happens. What else can we talk about? Oh, so I did
Oh,
consult with
Stepanova,
my
and you
friend.
when you're done.
Yes, I did consult with my friend Erin Conley on Twitter. She's really knowledgeable about ice dance. Um, she thinks that for the bronze medal, it's going to come down to the levels, mainly on the dance pattern, the fin step, because the
Yeah.
tech collar can be interesting depending on the competition. And then also GOE makes a difference because when you look at protocols for ice dance, it doesn't really help you understand the sport better because a lot of times a lot of the GOE is positive. So it's like everyone does a good job in their
But like, who
program.
does
They just need to
the
get their
best job,
levels. Yeah, that's right.
and
And
who
also
gets
the
those
program
jobs?
component marks are really close between all of the teams that are at the final vying for that bronze medal. So it's going to be who has the performance. My personal thing is I like stationary and rotational lifts. That's what I like to look at. Those are not what makes or breaks someone's results. It's the twizzles and the
Oh,
levels on their step sequence.
yeah.
I think one other thing that's going to be interesting here is to see which American dance team ends up on top. It's possible that both of them may not medal, but the team that places higher here at the final will probably have more momentum for the gold medal heading into U.S. nationals.
Right. Let's talk about chalk and base for a sec.
Yeah, go for it.
Their free dance is incredibly technically impressive, but it's a cultural appropriation hot mess. And as a Middle
That's right.
Eastern person, I'm just like so annoyed.
The hands, is it
The
hard for you to
hands are
watch
bad, but
those?
also the whole theme, the fake ass belly dancing. It
Yeah.
just really it's upsetting. Like as a Middle Easterner, I'm like, okay, this is the most stereotypical stuff you could get, and then it also like conflates Middle Eastern culture with Southeast Asian culture. Then that gets messy because it's like combines the two and like makes it this weird snake charmer thing. And I'm like, this is weird, and it sucks because they're talented, and
Yeah.
that ending pose is actually really cool. But the whole program is so problematic and steeped in like cultural insensitivity that it's just hard for me to enjoy. But I understand why it's as good, why they are as good as they are.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's a cohesive program. It's kind of not all over the place, but I will say they didn't have to choose this because this program doesn't really elevate their skating to the next level.
Right.
It's just kind of as good as they've always been. Maybe, a little better than before.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that. Madison Chalk is beautiful, though. I once met her and she said she liked my glow.
Oh my gosh, take that. You deserve that.
Thank you. Let's see. That's all I have for ice dance. Do you have anything to
Yeah, I
add?
feel so bad. Most of our effort went out to singles, but that's just my strength.
It's okay. We're at an hour and 40 minutes. Who knows how
Oh
many
my,
people made it this long?
oh my gosh, my throat feels bad. That was a we talked a lot, but to be fair, there
We
was so much to
did.
talk about.
That was good. And I'm pumped. Like, there wasn't skating this weekend. Like,
Oh, it's going to
researching
be
for
an
this
amazing
video.
competition.
God,
I'm very excited for I'm very excited to see what happens, but I just hope everyone skates well and does their best. I want clean skates from everybody. I think it'll be a very intense competition, but a very good one.
yes. So, we will wake up to the news on Twitter probably because I will sleep through some of those early performances.
It might be easier for people on the East Coast to do it since I'm
Jealous.
on the. So I might try it. I'll see. It depends on my schedule and like what other or 5,000 things I need to do because I always have a
Right.
lot to do. Okay, is
That
that
sounds
it?
good. Yes, well,
Yeah.
Brahim, I want to thank you so much for being on
Yeah.
this video with
Oh,
me.
it
It
was my
means so
pleasure.
much. It was
I
great
hope it was
chatting.
good.
You were great. So, thank
Uh,
you everyone for watching, and we'll
Thank
catch you in the
you.
next video. Goodbye.
Bye.